It's cool because it goes out on Saturday and then school's out, so it's like
Good. Great job. I'll give you a minute.
that's just right now. So we know 24 hours on Twitter, but we also started doing IG stories just because of the website. Very something big. So where so it's regular.
Yeah. Raiders football back in time.
Yes, so that's a hype.
Okay. So the Ticketmaster thing is different than a hype reel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ticketmaster is very short, very cheap.
Okay.
All right, good stuff that we can take, man. This is important for the future. Not going to happen much, but it's nice we can do it.
But
Yeah.
Eddie's team was the hype reel. So this year.
So I don't want to have to give you a big 3, 2, 1. You'll hear him. And when you, yes, perfect.
So most of the photos we're getting are from LLCs. We're getting them from like Matt or
No, photos you get it from the
okay.
very rarely. So right now we've got to have specific. No, that's
Oh yeah,
Mark's was sitting on.
if we have a big person like unfortunately
Christian has access to.
Yeah, you showed up at a good time. Let me know you can hear me, Lucky, because we got Maxx Crosby in any moment here. So let me know you can hear me, and we're sounding good. And welcome to our YouTube stream. Yeah, we're going to get Maxx Crosby on before the show starts. So that's going to be pretty cool. That's why I appreciate you being on this YouTube stream. And then we'll play this interview back during our live show because they couldn't wait around. They're breaking camp. So we have to do it now.
That's one of the interviews.
That's it. I mean, fifth quarter is the same. That's a podcast. So that one you can treat as an Instagram story. That one typically can go. We talked about it with Marcus. That can go the next day because those are two different shows. But the Raiders game day has to go. Hayden provides you that. You'll see.
Max Crosby, thank you for joining us for another productive season.
And then like Mondays, the Victory Mondays. That's something that very, very basic. You know, for us. We typically ride. Fifth quarter preseason.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm not going to sit back.
What?
Fifth quarter that's gonna be preseason.
Love that. Okay, so you guys are doing play-by-play on Twitter. Are you supposed to like big moments on the story? Okay, and then what goes on like at halftime?
No, for instance, yeah,
Okay, per game.
Let's just play with it myself.
the NFL old school that kind of
Okay.
but those fucking catch fire.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Grab somebody after a game.
that's not.
Okay.
See how we run that.
Yeah.
It's like comparative. It's like report is such. You'll start to see how dramatic.
G-Mac, you headed, so you're headed to Houston after this? No, he's good.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Post fight.
Came from the back.
Carnival fights. But
For MMA, right?
Does someone need to review it or something?
so by the time it gets to us, we have to take video.
Yes.
So you've been working at a gym around,
See,
like,
Yeah.
I love that. That's the very low.
Got it.
You have to go.
This is when Matt, you're in just talking this stuff. It's a little give it to us.
I was like, yeah, that's what's the beat. Oh yeah, so what is it for? Like fighting? UFC fighting?
All right.
Hi, Careful. What's up, man?
And you know, we just like promote galleries. This is up.
That's you, yeah.
Yeah, man, of course.
Son.
Like a first shot situation.
JT.
There you
What's
go.
up, yeah?
We're rolling.
Let's get it.
Going live here at the top.
Oh!
First, we appreciate it.
Let's do it. Yes, sir. I got your cigars, by the way.
Good.
Yes.
They got more. That's my guy.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Here we go. Right up there. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. We are back live at Raiders training camp. Ned Maxx Crosby, who I've covered his whole career. Now I get to cover it in Costa Mesa. How are you?
Phenomenal. Been an incredible time out here. It's crazy. It's already been over 2 weeks, and it just shows you time flies. But every single year, just fine tuning everything, getting closer as a unit. Super focused, super excited for what's to come. But we're really just focused on the 1%, the day to day.
I saw your wife out there the other day and talked to her. You had a little bit of family time, even though you're away from home. But I want to know personally and physically what this camp did to you. Your off season was amazing. You were there every day. What'd you get out of Costa Mesa?
Just the best version of myself every single day. I think, the physical part is a major component. All the recovery, the detail, every single day, 5 massages a week, even in the off season, all little things to refine and elevate my game personally. But it's the mental side. No clutter, no distractions. Focus on what's most important. My circle, tight knit. And everybody on the same page and understand what I'm trying to achieve. And they all got to understand that too, because it requires so much sacrifice on my end. So my circle is smaller and tighter than ever, but I have the best people in the world around me. So yeah, it's been an incredible time so far.
Does that have a lot to do with your sobriety circle too, combining that with football?
Yeah, it's everything. Just the people, the mentors in my life. From my agent CJ to Rachel, Ella. From Tim Grover, he's in my circle now. Alex Guerrero, another one. We work with each other every single day and twice a day during camp. So it's just I want the best in the world around me at all times, even for guys like Dana White. I talk to him almost every day. Those dudes, it doesn't matter if it's business, football, whatever it is, whatever avenue they're in, all those type of people have that same type of thinking. If I sit in the room with them, I can sit there and talk for hours and hours and hours, and that's what people I want to surround myself with. So just eliminating the extra, the distractions, things like that. There's a lot that comes with this life, and when money gets involved and fame and success and all that, everybody wants to be a part of that. But for me, no is a full sentence, is a complete sentence. So I've learned to say no and just focus on what's most important.
But on a lighter note, a kid got through security and you just signed his ball and autograph.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to sign this for
of course.
him too. And you have that relationship with young fans too. That's really important in your overall objection to win here, is connecting with these fans, and that's never been an issue. How is that fan relationship growing for you?
It's incredible. It's super important, and Charles Woodson, I would credit him a big part of that, because he just said, he's like, always have the fans in your corner. He's like, always go out of your way for your fans, and you see it on social media. I always repost my fans in jerseys, and I've had 10 people with me tatted on their leg and arm, and it's unbelievable to see, but it's crazy, but it's a testament to being consistent with them, being consistent to lead across the board. And that includes being with the fans and showing that love and support, because without them, I wouldn't be in this position. They're the ones that fill the seats. They're the ones that buy the jerseys. They're a major part of this. So I always go above and beyond and want to show them the love and respect they deserve.
Maxx Crosby, as we wrap it up, the spot that we've been in has Kobe vibes. Kobe spent a lot of time across the street with his kids at that South Coast Plaza and all that. And I know the impact that Kobe had on him. This is Kobe country. LA, globally, it's about Kobe, but especially blocks from where you're training.
Yeah, 100%. Kobe is probably, if not my biggest inspiration, between him and Mike. Those two, the amount I've taken the time to study, from interviews to books to everything. Kobe is literally the epitome of what it is to be iconic in any sport. He fully invested and was obsessed with what he did. And a guy like Tim was Tim was a major reason why I brought him in was because he was around the best, and I get to sit there and pick his brain about how Kobe was and what he did and how I can separate myself more and more, and the consistency of work. I just asked my dad, like he was asking me, I'm sending him clips, and I'm showing everybody like this is what I'm doing. I'm telling you, I'm gonna have my best year yet. I'm feeling my best, and they're like, what is it? And I'm like, it's the consistency of work. That's what Kobe said. Every single year, if you're doing it for 1 year and then 3 years and 5 and 7, and then you're just fine tuning and refining and elevating your game every single day, you're just only going to be running laps around people. They don't have time to catch up because I don't stop, and that's what it's all about. And Kobe is a major inspiration when it comes to that, and just the way he attacked the game. He didn't fear anything. He went into it. He took everything on head on. He felt responsible for everything. If we're going to win this game, it's on me to go and win the game. If we lose the game, it's on me. You know what I mean? That's the mentality I have every day. I want to be the hardest. No, I want to be the hardest worker. I know I'm the hardest worker. I believe in the National Football League, and that's what pushes me every day. I know there's more I can always do. And a guy like Kobe being in LA, I feel that spirit and energy at all times.
Wrapping it up with football, when you have interviews, you just did a hit on NFL Network, people want to ask you about yourself.
Yeah.
But most of this camp for me has been about the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So they're getting criticized. Some days it's why didn't he step up? Why you're coming around the edge, tapping guys, balls are flying, getting deflected. If the defensive line with Christian Wilkins and you are getting better, it's going to help the secondary and the safeties. But it takes a rep away from a quarterback that's competing for this. Are you hearing the quarterback noise? Is it a big deal? Because you're not in charge of who's going to start here, but it's a big component about what this camp's about.
No doubt. Yeah. I hear, people that try to say they ignore the noise. It's complete BS. You hear and see everything, and no matter what it is, people are either going to text you, you're going to see something pop up, whatever it is. So, we hear it. People see it, people hear about it, whatever, back and forth. But at the end of the day, like I want the best man to win. Period. Whether that's Aiden or Garner or whoever that may be. Somebody's going to have to step up and make a statement, and I think these preseason games are going to be a big part of that. And for me, all I'm focused on is winning. So I don't care what it looks like. I just want the best man to win. And I know they're competing. I know as a D line, people get irritated. I know I get basically every other practice I get kicked out for a team period because I hit the ball at the quarterback. But I'm focused on being the best version of myself. You can't just go in the game and learn how to strip sack. So yeah, I might get some heat from it sometimes, but it's going to make them better. It's going to make the tackles better. It's going to make the O-line better because I know, if you got guys like Christian, myself, Malcolm, all of us hunting, Adam Butler, every single down, once they get in the game, it's going to be easier. And these quarterbacks is going to, the best man's going to win. So we'll see what happens.
Last one. When I came to this team in '98, went to 2 AFC championship games and a Super Bowl. I thought it was going to be like that every year.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of some of the lack of respect from the national media, from other people around here, understanding they know the history of this team and the great moments of this team, but it's got to stop now. It's about winning. This is your prime. I think the beginning of your prime. You're going to have a long prime. Winning's got to start getting knocked down. And I know I can say just by looking at you, you're at the point too where you're a Raider. Everybody wants you to be a Raider for life, but it's got to show up on the field this year with wins.
100%. I mean, you're spot on. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, it's about winning. That's it. It's simple and plain, and we got to find ways to do that. I fully believe in AP. I fully believe in what we got going on, and we have to go out there and produce. It doesn't matter the talk, the noise, you see it around the league. Everybody, we get ranked 4th in the division every single year. Then we've beaten Denver 4 years in a row.
Let's stop that. We
beat
Denver 8 in a row.
I know.
And then the rankings come out, and it's Raiders 4th.
And they're second. Yeah, it's.
Let me follow up with that.
And the Chargers.
Knocking the Chargers out of the playoffs in one of the greatest games, if not in Allegiant history.
Yeah.
And then putting 63 on their ass.
Yeah.
And then, Harbaugh's going to come, and it's going to be 6 or 7 more wins for him.
I know.
That's the type of disrespect that we're talking to these fans about.
Yeah.
And only us can defend it here in the Raider Nation. We're the only ones who can defend
Of course. And the only way you go out and shut them up is by doing what we did and what we've been doing. We just have to take it to another level. It's not just about beating those 2 teams. It's about being consistent across the board, whether we're on the road in New York or wherever it's going to be. We have to be in the playoffs, and that's our main focus. And we got to take it one game at a time. So yeah, we hear all that noise. We hear what the people say about us. We see all the Charger fans. They come after me every single year, and the Broncos fans. But we know when it's really time to go, they already know what time it is. So I have no words to say. They're just gonna have to see me, and they're gonna have to see us when it matters.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for everything you do for me.
Yes, I appreciate you, brother.
There he is, the great Mad Max Crosby, as we
The
have
best,
him here
bro.
on Raider Nation Radio. That was good. It's always good with him. We'll be back after this. Be good, man.
Good,
Like
man.
I said.
Thank you so much. You're the best, bro.
Noise telling me.
Yes, you already know.
Thanks, man.
Great to see you.
You got it. Wow, that was good. Wow, that was good. Nope, nope, he was clean. He was clean. Wow. Good, man. This is why we're doing this YouTube thing, man, right here. You got exclusive content that no one else got. And we're going to play that back on the show, obviously, here in a little bit. So, thanks. All right, man. That was pretty heavy.
Now you got Max Crosby on the center, the worst block of the team. Now they in the hey, and then it bounces. Young guy to the first and second.
Out of the gate, JT coming to you live from Costa Mesa for the last time as the Raiders break camp today with their last real practice here on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio. 9:20 a.m. on the Raiders mobile app and on YouTube, where everybody in YouTube just watched me interview Maxx Crosby for about 10 or 11 minutes. And I think it's one of the best conversations I've ever had with Max. So we'll play that coming up here as Bobby will turn it around here back in the studio here. But Max finished practice. As I'm sitting here now, he's on the sideline working with former Raider Gerald McCoy, the Oklahoma legend, who now works for NFL Network, and he's out with Christian Wilkins, Maxx Crosby, and Gerald McCoy, and they're just doing some handwork here. It's really cool to see what I'm seeing out here as Max and Christian Wilkins stayed late after their interviews, and they're out there with Gerald McCoy doing one-on-ones with one of the great players on the defensive line over the last 20 years in the NFL. Daniel Jeremiah, Mike Garafolo, NFL Network is also out here. So they had Max, and then I got Max. And we had to do Max before the show started. So I fired up the laptop, we fired up the YouTube, and we got it going. And it was really good. And Max and I talked about Kobe Bryant. We talked about the background noise, what he's hearing from Denver fans, Charger fans along the way. Really good. And, I didn't want to go all X's and O's with him, but the quarterback play is really important. And you'll hear the interview coming up here. Also today's a good day for phone calls if you want to get through. It's my last 2-hour show here. Tomorrow we're on back in studio. I'm off on Friday. Then I catch a plane with the Raiders to Minneapolis as the Raiders are going to take on the Minnesota Vikings week 1 of the preseason. So the way I'm going to frame this show today is anything goes. Okay, everybody understand? We don't have many rules on this show. Today is anything goes on camp. I don't know everything. I'm not going to tell you who's going to make the roster or not. We're not here to make cuts and all that. But I've seen it all. From the offense to the defense, I spent a lot of time on special teams, being the voice for these preseason games on radio as the great voice of the Raiders. Jason Horowitz goes to TV. I spent a lot of time on this camp with special teams looking at this kickoff. So I think I'm pretty well versed in that, but you never know. There's some new rules. And last night, fun story. Last night here, I had a buddy of mine come down. We went to dinner. There's a great restaurant here in Costa Mesa called the Water Grill. Oh, my God. It's unbelievable. And I held court every night there at the bar with my wife one night and some other friends who came in. And after last night, what's been a habit for me is I go outside the team hotel. There's a pool area, and we have a cigar. So I bought a box of cigars from our buddy Mike from La Casa Cigars, and I'm down to about 6 or 7 of them. And who am I sitting with but the NFL referees who are assigned to work Raiders camp? And one of the referees, the head honcho, 27 years as a referee in the NFL, the side judge, young guys who've been in the league only 2 or 3 years. And we talked football and some really cool stuff about rules and the evolution of the replay and all that. So I had a lot of fun there last night. And then today I got a chance to watch the final practice. And, this whole practice has been about the quarterbacks, not so much underachieving. I wouldn't say they're underachieving, but they haven't popped. They haven't flashed. The flashes have been minimal. I didn't expect that. Look, when I'm wrong, you tell me when I'm wrong. Believe me, look at my Twitter. I try not to be wrong a lot. So when I'm wrong, you tell me. Last year, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have a really good preseason. He had a really good first game when the Raiders beat the Denver Broncos. Remember, he slid in bounds to close out the game. I thought Jimmy played well. And then Jimmy Garoppolo's ability digressed because he was playing injured. It didn't work out. You know the whole story. They didn't really get creative on offense. Jimmy's injured. Then he gets benched at the end of the year. And, I wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to do great. Raiders aren't going to win unless a quarterback plays really well. Well, the quarterbacks here in Costa Mesa have not played really well. And I needed to come here and see it because I got to host this show. And if I didn't come to Costa Mesa, and I would have been reading the tweets of Vic Tafer and Deshaun Reed and Vinnie Bonsignore and everybody else, I would have been sitting here saying, well, they're saying that the quarterbacks aren't playing well. No, I'm saying that the quarterbacks aren't playing well. There's interceptions left and right. Every time they go 11 on 11 or 7 on 7. And again, today wasn't a practice in pads, but, they're rushing the passer, they're blocking. And there's no Devontae Adams as he's waiting on the birth of his son. And then the play starts and a ball either gets intercepted or a ball gets tipped or a ball falls short. And there's a lot of wasted plays. Now, the play isn't completely wasted because Luke Getsy and his staff is evaluating footwork. They're evaluating blocking techniques. They're evaluating how to hit the hole. But here's the good news. And they're not going to show us everything in front of small fan bases and the media. But I've seen enough of Luke Getsy to know what he's trying to do. And Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, is trying to put a lot of players in motion. He's trying to move players around and make some really tough matchups for the defenses that he's going to go up against. Let me give you an example today. A portion of the practice today with both quarterbacks, I was on the sideline and Brock Bowers lined up wide. So he was closest to me on the sideline. Next to Brock Bowers on the inside was Jacoby Myers. And then to the left of the offensive line was Michael Mayer. So you didn't even have Michael Mayer down in a 3-point stance. You had Michael Mayer playing tight end. You had Jacoby Myers in the slot. And you had Brock Bowers lined up wide. And then on the other side by himself was Trey Tucker. So when you look at everything that they're trying to do with this team, what they're trying to do is give you different formations, putting men in motion, moving men around, doing certain things that are really important here because the Raiders have to do that if they're going to have any pop on offense. They're going to run 12 personnel. They're going to run 12 personnel, and everything is going to be okay with the way they line up in their scheme, which is very important. But the question is, the quarterback, whoever it is, has to get the ball out quickly. So here's where I stand on August 7th, 2024, at the end of Raiders training camp before they go to Minneapolis. I believe that Gardner Minshew is the choice. I don't know if he'll be the choice. The coach makes that, along with Tom Telesco, the GM. But I've seen enough to say that I think Gardner Minshew probably gives the Raiders a better chance to beat the Harbaugh brothers on the road. With Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and the Ravens defense stacked in the first two games, Minshew's won more games in this league. He's won more games than Aiden O'Connell. He's really good when a pocket breaks down, and I think the pocket's going to break down. We haven't seen Colt Miller. We're supposed to see him soon. Jackson Powers Johnson did not play in Costa Mesa at all, even though they're ramping him up to get him back. I think the depth of this offensive line, as I look at Cody Whitehair and Andres Pete, those are good players. Those are two very good players that are going to be tested early in the season on the offensive line, and I think they're going to play a big role going forward here. They have to play a big role going forward. The backups on the offensive line, two of them might start the season. And Andres Pete, 10 years out of Stanford, this guy can play. DJ Glaze, if he gets called in case of emergency, the rookie out of Maryland, that guy can play. But most importantly, at guard, Cody Whitehair, 9 years out of Kansas State, he can also play. That's a good thing, because if the starting offensive line needs a reserve or a backup to come in, I want to see backups that have played 9-10 years, not a rookie backup. So say Thayer Mumford, for whatever reason, goes down, and I hope that's not the case, and you got to put in DJ Glaze, who's a good player. He's a rookie. Rookies on the offensive line in the NFL don't work all the time. So the depth of the offensive line is a positive. The secondary and the cornerbacks. I'm looking here at the cornerbacks. Jacorian Bennett looked really good to me throughout camp. You know, I'm a big fan at the safety, Isaiah Palomal. He can play. But then when it comes to Richardson, number 25 out of Mississippi State, DeCamerion Richardson, he's a good, unique-looking player at the age of 23 years old. And Devonshire, MJ Devonshire out of Pittsburgh, is a good-looking player. And he's 23 years old. I like the safety play. I think the safeties can play, and I think they're fine at wide receiver. Man, Maxx Crosby and Christian Wilkins are still out there in the end zone with Gerald McCoy. A lot of the media is picking up on this. This is a big deal that he's working, and those guys who are after practice are listening to him. I wish I had a camera to show you this. It's pretty cool what I'm watching. So Mad Maxx Crosby is the star of the show today. You're going to hear that coming up. And then we're going to get down to number one, the greatest Raider game of all time. By now, you should know what that game is. It's Super Bowl 18. We chose the top 10 games of all time. We had 13 or 14 honorable mentions, a lot of really good games. We had 2 at number 10, and then we went right to number 2. Number 2 was Super Bowl 11, the first one for the Raiders with Kenny Snake Stabler and Fred Biletnikoff winning the MVP. I easily could have put that first. I could have put it second. Super Bowl 15, I could have put first or second, but we chose, the group that I'm working with, Super Bowl 18, because even John Madden said, and this was from Matt Millen. Matt Millen rode the bus with me today. I got to tell you that story. Matt Millen said that John Madden said that his team that won the Super Bowl, he thought the Super Bowl 18 team could beat the Super Bowl 11 team. That's what Matt Millen told me, because of the talent and the stars they had on the team. So if you got a call about Super Bowl 18, that'll be our number one game. Bobby's done a great job as a producer of the show, putting the sound together, highlights, some commentary from that game also. Number 702-365-9200. And we are wrapping up camp today. So, again, the phones have been quiet all summer. The phones are quiet from time to time because I don't read a lot of text. And, I don't give away, koozies. I'll give away some things sometimes. But I want to talk to aggressive Raider fans. And Maxx Crosby got aggressive at the end of our conversation about the disrespect around here and what's going on and what he is hearing. And Max said they always pick Denver over us. Raiders will beat Denver 8 in a row. And there are still pundits and prognosticators out there in this situation that are picking Denver over the Raiders and the Raiders to be last place in the AFC West. I'm always honest with you. I've been known to exaggerate. I don't know how good this team could be until the quarterbacks play better. I'm not impressed with the quarterbacks, but I think the quarterbacks are good. I don't have to be impressed with practice. I'd like to see them play better in practice, but I haven't been that impressed yet. And I was hoping that I would come to Costa Mesa. I've been out here close to 2.5 weeks on and off, that I'd come away one of the days and come to you on the radio and say, man, the quarterbacks were killer today. Oh my God. They had a few good practices, but this was all about the defense. Speaking of Matt Millen, what a sharp guy he is. So I rode the bus today with Matt Millen, 4-time Super Bowl champ. And I said, hey, Matt, all the camps you played with, he won 4 Super Bowls, right? 1 with the Redskins at the time, the 49ers, 2 with the Raiders. I said, Matt, was the defense that you played on always ahead of the offense? And Matt has that mean-looking mug when he wants to make it. And Max lowered his glasses and goes, every team I played on, the defense was better than the offense at camp. I go, really? With the Raiders? He goes, yeah. He goes, Plunkett, even the Plunkett teams, he said, it took them about a quarter of the season to catch up. And I said, excuse me, you mean a quarter of camp? He said, no, a quarter of the season for the offense to catch up. So that was a big, big deal for me. And Max said, you know, when we talk to Max, you'll hear that coming up here in a minute. Matt Millen said that their defense used to hammer away all the time and go after these guys. So that's what I'm seeing here. It's all been about the defense. If you're a Raider fan and you love defense, you're going to like this team a lot. I think you're going to like this team. If you're a Raider fan and you want the offense to pop and you want the offense to be a big offense with Devontae Adams and Trey Tucker deep, it's possible it could happen. Aiden O'Connell connected on a couple of deep balls last year, so we know he can do it. But will the question come, will Gardner Minshew outplay him, where Gardner Minshew is not a big deep ball thrower, but he's a guy that can really be sharp. Everybody's been talking about this with Gardner Minshew, that when you turn the tape on in camp, wherever he was, Jacksonville, Philly, Indianapolis, wherever he was along the way, he never wowed anybody at training camp. He's not a great practice player. But if you throw on the tape of Gardner Minshew, if you throw it on during the regular season when the games are real, he's a pretty good baller. He really is. He gets after it pretty good, and he goes and wins games. He's got pretty good stats. I mean, Geno Smith's a starter in Seattle. Look at Geno Smith's stats career-wise against Gardner Minshew and tell me what you see. So all of this overall is encouraging in a lot of ways. But the quarterback play takes the oxygen out of the room. It takes the oxygen out of the room from time to time because everybody wants to see great quarterback play. And ladies and gentlemen, you did not get great quarterback play in Costa Mesa, California at the 2024 Raiders training camp. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't terrible. Some days were worse than others, but I'm kind of disappointed. And I think a lot of people are disappointed around here, and they're hoping that the team will step up. I'll leave you on this good news note here in the monologue. Good news is you're going to see them play in the preseason. That's great for me, calling the games on radio. It's going to be great for you watching the Raiders, and especially if you're going to the games. If you're going to the Dallas game or the 49er game, I don't know exactly who's going to play, but Antonio Pierce made it clear today that the quarterbacks will play a quarter each in Minnesota. So you're going to see a half of football with a lot of the starters in, and the quarterbacks need to play with the starters so they can get a rhythm down. So I'm excited about that. 702-365-9200. My flight has already been delayed. As my wife says, take a deep breath. Nothing to get home to tonight. Remember, it took me 22 hours to get home from here by car. The greatest traffic jam of my life. They're going to put a monument up between Barstow and Baker and say, this is where JT the Brick spent 6 to 8 hours of his life not moving a couple of Fridays ago. So I'm not worried that my Southwest flight is just delayed 40 minutes. You know, fine, we can handle that. But I need to manifest good things about this flight being on time. Raider Nation Drinking Club, Thor in Summerlin, in my hood, joins us. Kick it off, Thor. Appreciate you. What's happening?
about players on our team. Stop it. You need to encourage these dudes. You don't know. They might have a friend watching who tells them they're talking bad about them. That's not going to help them. That's not going to help your team. Raider Nation, stand up, unite, as JP would say. Let's go. Let's get fired. I'm fired up. This weekend, I'm going to see the Raiders on the field. Let's go. No injuries. Everyone stay healthy and keep building this team the right way. Let's go, JP.
Thank you, Thor. Appreciate you coming in here, Raider Nation Drinking Club. It's a really important topic about being optimistic. A lot of sports fans, including myself, if you follow me on Twitter with the Yankees, every time the Yankees lose a game, I want to jump off a building, right? So I'm pretty negative when they lose. But I love the team, and I'm invested in the team. I love this team. I'm invested in the team. If the team wins, it changes everything. If the team's not playing well and they're losing games, it's even hard for the diehard Raider fans, guys like Thor. It's hard to stay positive. And we want everybody to be positive in the preseason, right? The regular season starts off at Los Angeles, at Baltimore. We'll see what happens in the first two games. And then that'll be the test for us. How do we handle it here on the flagship of the Raiders? A lot of fans are going to call in if the Raiders don't get off to a good start, and they're going to be pissed off. A lot of fans, if the Raiders get off to a good start, are going to be going crazy and loving life. That's the way it is. 27 years on Raiders radio in some capacity. I know these fans better than anybody. They deserve to win. They've been waiting too long to win, and it's got to change. And I think this team is better than their record last year. I know they're better, but I can tell you this. I can't pick them to win a lot of games until the quarterback starts showing up and playing better. Right? I'm going to pick them. I think they're a good team. They won 8 games last year. They should have won 9. They were hanging around 9 or 10 wins. They ended up with 8. That 3-0 Minnesota game still gives me nightmares at night. And I thought that was a 9-10 win team last year. They ended up with 8. I think this team is better. But if the quarterbacks don't elevate their game, it's not going to happen. The quarterbacks don't have to do a lot. They don't have to be Brady or Montana or Mahomes, but they got to be better than they've been in Costa Mesa. And I'm hoping that happens. I really hope that happens coming up here. 702-365-9200 for the next hour and a half. I'm going to be thanking all of our partners, and we got a lot of them. And PT's fuels the monologue. And everything I could say about PT's, they're my longest standing business relationship on this channel, dating back decades. So I got to thank everybody at Golden Entertainment, the Sartini family, everybody involved in this, and the people that give us a chance every day to talk about their company. PT's Fuels the Monologue, live from Costa Mesa. The entire coverage, every monologue in Costa Mesa was brought to you by Golden Entertainment. PT's, the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. You know it by now. Wherever you are driving in the valley, in Vegas, any corner, anywhere, you see a PT's. They welcome you in, watch sports, have a great happy hour, drive responsibly, great food, and have a great time. Thanks to PT's for sending me out to Costa Mesa. We could not do it without them. When we come back, Mad Maxx Crosby. If you're on YouTube, you saw it already. So if you're on YouTube, you can hear it again. You won't be able to see it on YouTube, but you'll be able to hear it again. And if you're listening on radio, which is the majority of our audience, what Maxx Crosby had to say. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. I've had a bunch with him. I think this was the best conversation we had. How calm he is, his zen, his ability, his will to win. Maxx Crosby joins us, as we're also brought to you by Boyd Gaming. When I think of Boyd Gaming, I think of the Raiders partnership and local coverage in Vegas. Boyd Gaming, proud partner of our Costa Mesa shows. All right, everybody. So we're going to come out of break here on radio with this Maxx Crosby interview. So I'm going to kind of bop around here. I want everybody to stay with me. Vinnie Bonsignore is going to join us. We're going to have a couple of people come in here. But I'm going to kind of disappear for a few minutes as we're going to replay this Max interview. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's effing go. Can't get right. Gunslinger, man, there was some beef in that last presser chat. What's up with that? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, subscribe, and share. I need everybody to subscribe. I need everyone to hit that like button right now for me. You know, I don't ask a lot. Looney3 said, you're going to do YouTube live on the preseason games. No, we're not allowed to do that. You're going to have to listen on the radio. You're going to have to find it on television, as you know. Appreciate those who have been following me for years on here. Adam says it should be a competition committee rule. Each team plays a home game the first 2 games. Yeah, I'd like that. This one from Raider Vizon. Did I get that right? Vision, Raider Vision. How did Aiden and Minshew look today? They looked average. It's frustrating. They look average. They don't look great. But I don't see every throw. I'm sitting here too. Hey, Fabian, what's happening? MG, that's confirmed. Has DA's, did Devontae have the kid or not? I haven't heard he had the kid yet. Is that a rumor or is it true? Jack Squirick, Marcus Allen, Cliff Branch. Yes, we'll get into that one. Yeah, good to have everybody here. So again, this Maxx Crosby interview is going to run those who are on early on time. That was a nice conversation. That's coming up here in a few minutes. And I will be back here in about 10 minutes or 5, 6, 7 minutes. I'm going to get a water and see what's going on. That'll work out.
Okay.
So I'll just when I get the Uber to your house, I'll text you when I'm pulling up.
Yeah.
If you're on the air,
You can sit it right
I'll
outside.
text you. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll end up. Yeah, I'm gonna take an Uber to the airport. Yeah, I'll just Uber to the airport. And I'll drop it by. All right, man. Appreciate it. What's happening, everybody? No, I'm not on a smoke break. I don't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes. Never. It's a good JT trivia. I never, ever, ever in my life smoked a cigarette, and I've never, ever, ever in my life placed a bet on anything. How about that? Now, I've done a lot of crazy stuff. I've done a lot of wild stuff, more so than all of you guys, promise you, and gals. Done some wild stuff in my life, man. But I've never inhaled a cigarette and never placed a bet. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Bobby loves to have a dart at the top of every hour. And a lot of my friends gamble. I'd say most of my friends gamble. Yeah, I hope you can hear this interview. It's playing now live on the app and 9:20 a.m. No, never bet. Never placed a bet in life, anywhere, Vegas. I never got into gambling, man, and I hang out with a lot of gamblers. Gambler, I don't have a problem with anybody gambling at all. You know, it's just that I never thought it was for me. I was a stockbroker, so I gamble every day in the stock market. So I gamble in the stock market daily, and that is a gamble, but it's kind of something that I think's a little bit, you can buy and hold. I can buy stocks that are going up and down and hold and make my money back. Can't do that in gambling, and either win or lose. And a lot of the gamblers I know in sports are terrible. And it's hard to find many people who are sports gambling that win consistently. They'll win. They'll bet a UFC fight and get it right. They'll bet a baseball game and get it right. But they're not able to do it consistently because you got to be a professional gambler, to win like 55% of the time. And I never wanted to spend 9 hours or 7 hours in a sports book, period. Now, there's some good people in sports books, great people in sports books, but there's also a lot of degenerates who are addicted to gambling who are a mess and throw away their families and their money over gambling in sports, and they don't know how to stop, and they're not very good at it. And as much as I think I know sports and I think I'm pretty good at sports, I don't think I could win gambling, so I never tried. But I'm going to start talking more gambling here because I'm going to get involved more of that with the show during football season. And I'm also going to get involved with, more gambling talk and more gamblers here because everyone's getting involved. And what's the difference between me, who might know a lot more than a professional or a handicapper who's betting $5 a game? So that guy bets $5 a game. I bet none. I have no skin in the game. That's fair. But I can give my opinion. I just can't value bet it because I don't bet. Man, on my Facebook page, a lot of kids are going back to school today. That sucks. I mean, it just sucks. August 7th, and kids are going back to school in Las Vegas today. To hear some of this Max interview. Yeah, we're just wrapping this up. 2 more minutes and then the break. So, this is a hot mic, so I'll go over here with you.
We haven't had a chance to I'm hoping that. Devontae wasn't there. The left side of the starting line wasn't there. A lot of
So one real big move in Pittsburgh for a second five. Yeah, that's like that's fine.
All right, take care of yourself.
Thanks for everything. Yeah, I mean, the best way to describe this is just can't have it no juice. It's juice.
Yeah.
Way tremendous juice for the offense. Racing boys, none of these coaches are racing boys. Did you see what it was like? Let's get through this. Yeah. Let's get back home and the players have been watching.
Yeah, I mean, there were just got blown up before they ever got started. It's just,
Okay, 2 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's like a baseball pitch. Throws a bunch of balls in the dirt, walks a lot of others. A lot of those runs.
It would be fun. It's frustrating. Yeah. Just not. You can tell the folks not right under just about 90 points. They could actually run but their offense for 20.
That's what I saw. I think.
Now, granted, it's going against that team. Like you said, you're going to hold team to
You know, Vinnie, this is what I think is interesting about this section. Push it up. I can see the next stuff. Later than that, guys next year. Those guys we take the ball from the industry side. Puts them inside the team. That's a score.
I know that's
That has to happen to get into that. Those
We take
extra
so much
threes and those extra sixes that come over turnovers, you know.
and I think they're going to score a few touchdowns themselves.
Defense.
Yeah.
Sure. How's the company, how's the paper treating you with your travel and all that? Good. You have a voice in all that, where you stay or what you do, or?
I mean, you know, it's all within reason, but they definitely don't chinch or anything like that.
Right.
Say at the
Okay,
Renaissance.
we're in a break. Here we go.
Say at the Renaissance.
Okay. Hey, Bobby, we got Vinny. All right. Dude, can you jump in here if you don't mind? Because I got this streaming. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Got it.
Got some good people in there. We got like 70 people per
That's
show,
great.
which I'm excited about. Yeah, built that from scratch, and it's actually doing pretty good. And, you know, can read some stuff if it's slow from time to time, which is nice. There you go.
Starting to like what I see in the picture.
There you go. There you go. You're looking good, man. Keep it up. It's great when you eat better.
Like about 25 more to go.
Good. And you can do that discipline on the road during football season. Yeah.
And it's like I'm getting a little. There's a doctor that I'm working with. My pain doctors that
Oh yeah.
they put me in touch with this guy.
What kind of pain did we?
No, the pain guys that do the show. That
Oh, good. Okay,
They,
good.
they put me.
Oh,
It's
good,
like, hey,
good.
you got a guy that you
Good.
talk to him, you know, and you know, promote what he's doing.
Good. Good.
It's worked.
That's great. What's up with your son at UNLV? How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's getting gearing up. School starts in 2 weeks. He's going to work in the SID's office with Mark
good.
Wellington.
Good.
Yeah. Wellington?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told them just make the most of the opportunity. Do whatever they ask you. Period. That's how you.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
You know, both my sons are working when they get good jobs and stuff. It's proud, man. It's just
Yeah.
nice to have them focus, go to work, and
Where
be
are your
productive.
sons?
My son's a sports agent for a local guy in town, and
Okay.
he's traveling the country trying to sign running backs.
All right.
And then my other son is interning with the Raiders. He did the
Beautiful.
whole summer, so
Yeah.
he had a good speak. He leaves for ASU next week for his
Nice.
senior year.
What's he majoring in?
Communications,
Yeah.
political
Yeah.
communications. He's doing pretty well. Both my sons did really good in school, but just graduate.
Yeah.
That's what Dad did.
That's all.
Just graduate.
I know exactly.
All right, here we go.
I don't need.
All right. Yeah, the flight's already delayed.
What are you flying
I'm
south?
flying Southwest, and we're already delayed at an airport that you should never be delayed. So it's 3:50 now. It's 4:40. So
You're flying out with the team on Friday, or
Yeah.
no?
no,
So you're-
we're flying. Me and Brad and Marcus are flying Friday. One day. Yeah,
I got a red eye tomorrow night.
I love the red eye. I
Yeah,
can
same.
do it. Some people can't.
I love it.
You know, my parents like the red eye.
Yeah.
Says a lot of people can't
It
handle
gives me a
it.
check. Like I'm gonna take. It looks like I'm gonna take this with me. So on Friday I could check into the hotel and do the show for.
Oh, good.
Minneapolis. Yeah,
So you're going to take this equipment with
that's
you. Good.
sounds like that's
Good.
what they want me to do.
Good. All right.
Hello,
Okay.
Bobby. How are you, buddy? Yeah, I'm driving in that direction shortly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So they're breaking down everything today, huh? They're breaking down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
What's
they're having a
with the-
walkthrough tomorrow.
Yeah. What's that about? Is that tomorrow morning?
Apparently,
Okay.
unless he's called it. Oh, and they
Yeah,
got
I would
something.
assume he's going to call that off, wouldn't you? Or no?
You could almost do that if you got a big enough ballroom. You can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, that's Aiden O'Connell. Vinnie Bonsignore joins us. Our good friend Mike over at La Casa Cigars, a proud
yeah.
partner of ours who helped us get out here to Costa Mesa. As we're thanking all of our partners today. And Vinnie, you spent the entire camp here in Costa Mesa. You just heard Aiden O'Connell. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed in him. I just thought I had higher expectations in him, considering what I heard he was doing in the offseason. I didn't see much of it here. How'd you see it?
Yeah, and I think that goes for both quarterbacks.
Mm.
You know, it's an incomplete in terms of the quarterbacks. Not to play on words there, but I think that the Raiders, wanted to see one or the other take a definitive step forward here in camp compared to the other, and that just simply hasn't happened. So now it'll extend into the preseason, starting Saturday in Minnesota against the Vikings. And that's going to now become a big component of this decision that Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco and Luke Getsy have in front of them. And it bears repeating that we've seen this every single day. This is a really good defense that they're operating against. So you have to take that into account. Devontae Adams hasn't been out there for now a week or about a week now in training camp, going home for the birth of his son. Plus Colton Miller, the left tackle, hasn't been out there. Jackson Powers Johnson, who's expected to be the starting left guard, isn't out there. you definitely have to take all of that into account. But it is what it is. The bottom line is 11 practices into training camp, 17 days into this. We're no further along in terms of deciding who the Raiders starting quarterback is than we started, basically. It's still, as Antonio Pierce said, status quo.
All right, with Whitehair and Pete, both veterans, been around this league a while. Those are good players, so they have to step in and play. Let's talk about that, because JPJ not being here for one practice is concerning to me, because how quickly do you want to get him up to speed? And even if he plays one preseason game, do you want to throw him out against Bosa and the Chargers? You want to start him early in the year? You're going to have to work him in. We don't know that yet.
Right.
We'll wait till the Raiders tell us. But tell me about what you saw with the depth of the offensive line.
Yeah, and I actually just wrote this. When you're talking about Andrews Pete and Cody Whitehair, you're talking about two former Pro Bowlers. Andrews Pete at left guard, who's now transitioned to left tackle, played there last year for the Saints, did reasonably well. And then, of course, and he could play guard too, if need be. Cody Whitehair could play center, both guard positions. So it's been a long time since the Raiders have had veteran backups that had the kind of body of work and resumes that both of these players have had. So I think the Raiders probably had a little bit of a vision for an Andrews Pete, knowing that Colton Miller was going to be delayed coming off the surgery. And remember, Colton's not hurt; he's just going through the process of rehabbing from surgery. So that's important to keep in mind. But should it come down to it, I think the Raiders would be comfortable with either Andrews Pete at left tackle for a spell, or if Cody Whitehair has to start the season at left guard, they're comfortable with that as well. And that's not a luxury the Raiders have necessarily had in the offensive line in terms of veteran experience. And then you got DJ Glaze, who every time you turn around, Antonio Pierce or somebody else is talking about him, Tom Telesco, the general manager, and for good reasons, because he just turned 22 on Friday. This 22-year-old rookie third-round pick from Maryland has definitely opened some eyes, and now he's been splitting time at starting right tackle with Thayer Munford. So I feel like Thayer's going to hold on to that job, but it's already, or DJ has already shown the Raiders that as either a backup or a potential starter, he seems to be headed in the right direction.
Tell me about Zamir White and how you've evaluated this camp, because non-padded practices, hitting the hole, no one's really going to bring you down. How do you judge him? And give me a guesstimate of what you think he could carry as a workload per game. 20, 22, more than that? With the Bowers-Mayer situation, which I love, that's going to take away some rushing attempts for him. Devontae needs the ball. And let me repeat that. Devontae needs the ball.
For sure.
You didn't have to watch Netflix or not.
Right.
He needs the football.
Yeah.
So where do you see Zamir White and his workload coming up?
I think that Antonio mentioned the number 230 to 250 in terms of carries. So divide that if he plays 17 games, and that'll give you your answer. Of course, sometimes situations are going to dictate, how many carries he gets. Sometimes you're playing from behind. You're going to throw it a little bit more often. But I think the blueprint for the Raiders, and we've seen that with that dominant defense, is a dominant defense, controlling the line of scrimmage and the pace of the game with your running game, and then having the quarterbacks kind of benefit from that running game to then play off of that running game and get the ball to guys like Devontae Adams and Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers and Trey Tucker and on and on and on. So from what I've seen of Zamir White, I feel like he's poised to have a big year, and I'd be really surprised if he doesn't hold on to that job and kind of flourish in that role. Two reasons why. Number one, he's came in fabulous shape. He's hitting the hole. He's running with authority. Now, again, you just mentioned in training camp, it's tough to get a read on your running game because you're not doing anything like there will be games where 6 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, and the offensive coordinator does not stick with it and get into a rhythm. And all of a sudden, he's getting more volume of work. Here, everything's pretty much scripted. You're not doing anything to try to create any momentum for yourself or sequencing your play calling. So we just haven't seen that. But I would imagine in this game and further into the season, you're going to start seeing that, and I think he's going to run with that role.
Vinnie Bonsignore, as we wrap it up, he's getting out of here along with a lot of the beat writers and myself a little bit later on. At cornerback, Bennett, Richardson, Devonshire, Faison, his situation going forward. And I thought Jack Jones had a great camp. So give me a bubble picture of what you think the cornerbacks are going to do, because that was a question mark coming to Costa Mesa.
Yeah, and I just wrote about this as well. Ja'Cory and Bennett, if there was one pressing question on the defense, a defense that returned most of their starters, was who's going to start alongside Nate Hobbs and Jack Jones. And I feel like Ja'Cory and Bennett, even we know that Brennan Faison hasn't been out there for a little while now with whatever he's dealing with. But even if he had been on the field, it's hard to imagine that Jacorian wouldn't be the starter right now. He's played that well in training camp. But then you talk about Jack Jones, who I think if he remains dialed in, and he's been dialed in practice, there's been days where he's the best player on the field.
Yesterday I thought he was the best
There you
player
go.
on the field. Yeah.
And that's saying something with Maxx Crosby on the field and
Wow.
Christian Wilkins on the field. But he's earned that, and I think that if he stays on the right track and stays focused and dialed in, he's got the potential to be a top 10 NFL cornerback. And you already talked Nate Hobbs. To me, if you're talking about slot corners in this league, is a top 5, top 6 slot cornerback with the potential to be even better. So you start talking about that cornerback room and slotting guys in that type of world, and all of a sudden you're thinking that has a chance to be a very good secondary with Jacorian, and then the 3 safeties. We got to mention Isaiah Palomalo because he had another interception today. A playmaker, a guy that's a real asset for this team. Trayvon Merrick, another interception for him today. Marcus Epps, you know what you're getting. Playing behind that offensive or that defensive line, it's going to make everybody's world a little bit easier. And you can say the same thing about the defense. This room, that secondary, they're going to lead to some coverage sacks as well. They're going to be able to do their job and help Maxx Crosby cross the finish line in terms of sacks and Malcolm Kuntz and Christian Wilkins. So both of those groups, the defensive line and the secondary, are going to help each other.
All right, it's partnership thank you day as we break camp. Who would you like to thank?
Well, definitely, when we're talking about lendingstore.com, if you need $500,000 or $5,000, just go to lendingstore.com. Get all the details. Don't sweat it. They can hook you up with experts that can get you money as early as tomorrow. Of course, Dos Gatas Tequila. You talked about La Casa Cigar and Lounge. Our great friend Mike Prieto. They've partnered up, he and Dos Gatas Tequila, to do some great things with some specialty cigars and the various labels of Dos Gatas Tequila. So go check them out. And if you want to buy your Dos Gatas Tequila, Lee's Liquors, Total Wine, if you're not in Las Vegas, just go to DosGatasSpirits.com and you can have everything delivered right to your house to DosGatasSpirits.com.
See you in Minneapolis.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your trip back to Las Vegas and then
You have a
Minnesota.
better trip than me home. You got that journey.
Thank you very much.
You got it. There he is. Vinnie Bonsignore, everybody, kind enough to join us and on the live stream. Really appreciate the great work that he's done as our teammate here on Raider Nation Radio and support his partners like you support ours here as we continue on. Wow, that was one hell of an hour, man. We have Maxx Crosby, Vinnie B on. I haven't had a chance to get to our greatest game of all time. We're counting down the top 10 games of all time. I will lead with that at the top of the hour. We're excited about that. So we're going to lead with that. Super Bowl 18. We know we're going to hear from Raider 66. We should be hearing from other Raider fans who know that. Thanks a lot to Vinnie Bonsignore as we wrap it up. I mean, I'm just telling you how gorgeous it is out here as I'm turning around my live stream just to see the view I have at this football field. And then right over here, I have NFL Network as they're breaking down. Mike Garafolo, Daniel Jeremiah has been here today. But as you look out there, you see wispy clouds, a lot of trees, unbelievable temperatures in the 70s and 80s. And we're excited about that, man. And now we're heading back to Vegas. My wife's going to the Morgan Wallen concert coming up. She's all excited about that. Oh, my God. Who's this guy, Morgan Wallen? Everybody is raving about. I obviously know who he is, but count me out. I put on my boots. As you saw, I put on my boots for the rodeo. That's a picture that will live in infamy, me dressing up for the rodeo. You don't have to worry about that. I am not going to Morgan Wallen, but I think it's sold out, Allegiant Stadium. Can you imagine if Mark Davis didn't build Allegiant Stadium with the help of all of his partners and what he was able to do? We got concerts. We got events. We got the Raiders. We also have T-Mobile Arena. We have the Sphere. So much going on, but I feel like a lot of people, man, got out of Vegas this summer, man. A lot of people wanted to get out. They tried to get out, and they were able to get out. Who else do we go? Bobby, if we got AJ in Milwaukee, if he's still there, that'd be nice to take his call. He's been holding. AJ, go ahead. What's happening? I'm doing great.
I wanted to ask you about kind of the offseason, like necessary situation falling through and the ultimate plan of you get to. You kind of do that almost as like a blessing that you guys just kind of with the roster we have, obviously on the tight end. But the tight end being so important to this offense, because we have big Mike as like a true number one, while Brock in general, and Sue's like a positive.
Yeah. Thank you for that great question. A lot of great questions there. First off, it didn't take me long to understand that Darren Waller was a wide receiver, not a tight end. You heard that here first. First time I saw Waller play, I said, you got to look at these numbers and treat him like a receiver. And I was right with that. Same thing with Brock Bowers. I saw Brock Bowers line up in the slot, on the outside. He can do it all. So Big Mike Mayer, who we talked to yesterday, is going to be the featured tight end who's a blocker, a road grader who can catch the ball. Brock Bowers is going to be a Swiss Army knife. He's going to be a hybrid. He's going to get the ball all the time out of the backfield. He's going to put his hands on the ball in the backfield. They're going to check down to him. And I'm hoping it works out well with Zamir White, because I don't see how this team's going to score a lot of points unless they're able to run the ball and set up play action. Our entire camp radio setup here, which is pretty incredible, as you see, if you watch it on our YouTube feed, is brought to you by Modelo. Steve Gomez and his Modelo team got me some new Modelo gear I'll be wearing next week. I appreciate that. You know I have a bucket of Modelo's every Friday. People yell at me in the airports. They yell at me across casinos. Modelo, JT, Modelo. Because they know I drink Modelo. I drink it in the pool. I drink it at the bar. I drink it on the road. I love Modelo's. I had Modelo's at Billy's in Newport Beach yesterday with my great friend Sam Batesh, one of my former producers. We had our Modelo's. Thank you, Modelo, for putting us in Costa Mesa during training camp, as we thank all of our partners today, and we thank Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo. All right. Man, this is a good day. We are 20 subs away from 4,000. And again, we started with 0. Not too long ago, we're going to have 4,000 subscribers. I'm not going to be happy until we get to 10. We need to get to 10,000. But in order to get to 10,000, you got to get to 4,000. So that's it. Everything else is good, man. We take our top of the hour break. This is when Bobby gets a dart. He smokes a ciggy. So if you're calling, Bobby steps out for a minute. Thank you, Pat's One, for calling in. AJ from Milwaukee. Appreciate it. That's my dream, too, is people watching on YouTube and calling the show. That's cool. That's what we're trying to do here. All right, I got to get my notes here on Super Bowl 18. We're going to do that next. The greatest game of all time, Super Bowl 18. I'll get right to that. You guys are watching how a radio show works. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple, man. We talk. We talk and try to get people interested in what we're talking about. That's about it. Some of the games. Ghost of the Post was number 6. We had Red Right 88, number 5. We had the AFL Championship game, number 4. Super Bowl 15, number 3. Super Bowl 11. Max on Rainbow and in Green Valley on Eastern Avenue. Grimaldi's the best pizza I've ever had.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and been changing.
All right, Bobby, I got the sound bites of Super Bowl 18 here. Yeah, the mic. I'm hearing something in queue, Bobby. Okay. I'm hearing something in queue. Well, I'm not now, which is good. We're back, JT, the last hour from Costa Mesa. I do not know if we'll ever be back to Costa Mesa. I don't know what the Raiders are doing. There are some rumors where the Raiders can take training camp, but I don't work on a lot of rumors with the Raiders, but I enjoyed Costa Mesa. It was really cool, man. It was good to get out of the Vegas weather. I'm happy I had the opportunity to do that. I wasn't here for every practice. I was here for most of them. I'll fly out Friday to Minneapolis for the Viking game. We'll start the preseason, and we'll go from there. Hopefully a little bit more time off before the end of the summer. It's still summer. Got to have a couple more days to get after it with the family and the kids and do something, because once the season starts, we don't come up for air until after the season, and we want it to be a long season. We'll get to the greatest Raider game of all time coming up in a moment. Raider Mike checking in. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you calling as we're live from Costa Mesa. What's happening?
We first broke through 76 after all those games. I thought that was the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
But then I moved to Maryland. Parents divorced, we finally knew real fun. Okay, I'm in Maryland. I am the only great in my high school.
Mm-hmm. Mike, I love the history, but it's my last hour. I got to pound through this. Go get me into the games. What you think about the greatest game? Go ahead.
I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
83. I went to Kansas City. All the money that I was only 18. A fake ID. Anyway, that game is where I was at. In Maryland. Redskins in a 9-point
Mm-hmm.
Basically beat you 38-0. All my high school around the Redskins. I'm just standing there with my Raider gear on. Going, yeah, it's $2,000. Atlantic City. And true. So here we go. There's my Raiders.
That's great. Well, that's a good story because Mike, obviously, and there's only one Raider Mike. And Raider Mike, no disrespect to you because you're very good, but Raider Mike, who I started with the Jim Rome show, is we got to come up with something with Raider Mike, Bobby. That one's got to be Raider Mike something. Raider Mike, whatever. It can't be Raider Mike. There's only one Raider Rob. There's only one Black Hole Rob. There's only one Raider Mike. We can't have 15 Raider Mikes, man. My Raider Mike in Texas, he's always listening to the show. But let's get to that game. And I'd like to hear from you on this game. So start dialing now if you have a memory of Super Bowl 18. 702-365-9200. Our team put this together, and we came up for this game as our top Raider game of all time. This is number one. The Los Angeles Raiders 38, the Washington Redskins 9. January 22nd, 1984. The Raiders win Super Bowl 18, famously dubbed Black Sunday by NFL Films. Super Bowl 18 put on a display the best that the NFL had to offer as the LA Raiders drubbed the Washington Redskins 38-9. The resounding victory rested on the running brilliance of Marcus Allen, the strength of the dominating defense and special teams play that shined in that game that led the club to their third Super Bowl title in 8 years. Now, let me stop. Should have won several more in the 70s. Say they won one or two more in the 70s. Then you add these three. We're talking about 5 or 6 Super Bowls for the Raiders. All of these Super Bowls mattered, and the Raiders have not won the Super Bowl since. Since Super Bowl 18, it's coming up on Super Bowl 58 here. So the Raiders got to get going and get back to the winning ways. But that was unbelievable, from a block punt that got them going to getting the game going. There's so many notes that I have here on the Theismann interception, Jack Squirick. The list goes on and on. Fortunately, we have a lot of sound for this game that I'll get to momentarily, but it was the Marcus Allen game, the MVP, the third quarter touchdown, what happened as he reversed fields, the reverse field touchdown with the entire Redskin team looking for him and not being able to get their hands on him. That was a 74-yard sprint to give the Raiders an insurmountable lead and give the city of Los Angeles its first Super Bowl victory. Allen was easily the MVP of the game. He gained 191 yards on 20 carries and 2 touchdowns in the game. Another Super Bowl for the great Jim Plunkett along the way. And the AFC champion LA Raiders were back. They were back in black. And this was a big moment for everyone around the country, from Al Davis to the president calling in, and what it meant to this organization as they became the team of the decades. This, I believe, was their greatest roster of all time, arguably Super Bowl 15's roster. Several 2-time Super Bowl winners played in Super Bowl 15 and 18, including Reggie Kinlaw, some of the other great players along the way. But this one with Mike Haynes, I really believe was important. Al Davis said after the game, and you'll hear it, not only in my opinion are you the greatest team of all time, I think you rank with the greatest team of all time to have ever played in any professional sport. And Al Davis said that this team stood the test of time. If you take the victory of Super Bowl 18, the Hall of Famers who played in that game, the legends who played in that game, they had a ranking of the top 10 Super Bowl winners of all time. This did not make the list. I said, you got to be out of your mind here. They had the 18-0 Patriots who lost the Super Bowl ranked higher than this team that won the Super Bowl. But this team will stand the test of time. When you look at the cornerbacks who played in that game, to have Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes, the linebackers who played in the game, the pass rush, the offensive line, the quarterback, the running back performance of Marcus Allen, special teams, it all came together. Wow, we bring this to number one all time, and we're thrilled that a lot of people agree with it. Let's take a look at the sound that become the highlights of this game here, and there were so many. This is Summerall and Madden on the call. So if you look at John Madden, how about that? John Madden, the Super Bowl winner in Super Bowl 11, and then John Madden gets to be a part of this on the broadcast with Pat Summerall. Let's listen to first the block punt that changed the game early. 3.
Five. He was right in Jeff Hayes' face.
Love Madden on the call here with Summerall. How great is this? The great Jim Plunkett to the former, and he's not with us anymore. I wish he was. I always think of Cliff Branch. It's been 2 years since his party in Canton, Ohio, 5 years since his passing. This touchdown, Plunkett to Branch.
Here's another different formation. Barnwell and Branch to the left, and Allen was split to the right. And it's Branch for a touchdown. Anthony Washington for the defender. Cliff is still celebrating here. I'll tell you one thing, he doesn't throw that ball down. He doesn't spike it, though. Barr's extra point is good. 65 yards they wanted.
3.
Raiders take a 14-0 lead.
Yeah, Matt Millen told me today in another conversation, those Raider teams, they didn't have a lot of sustained drives, man. They scored quickly, and this team scored, and the blowout ensued. Jack Squirick, the impact that he had here, once a Raider, always a Raider. This is one of the great moments, individual plays in all of Raiders history.
Joe Washington in the backfield with Theismann. Go to work for something. Goes outside and attempts a screen. Picked off by Jack Squirick. And the Raiders get another touchdown on a turnover. Jack Squirick's going to take that ball home. No one's going to get that one from him. Redskins had 3 guys out here at the right. They tried to set something up and throw the screen back to the left. It didn't fool Jack Squirick. David Hung holding. Chris Barr for the extra point.
3.
21-3 Raiders.
Wow, David Hum, the Hummer holding, where he rests in peace. The great David Hum. On that play, the Redskins ran that in the regular season against the Raiders to beat them. Raiders knew it was coming, including the great Johnny Otten, who was with this organization for well over 30 to 40 years, a videographer who was back, a young kid at the time, and saw that play happening and realized it. Matt Millen came off the field. Squirick came in for one of those most defining plays that the Raiders have been built on. Marcus Allen, this is the 5-yard short touchdown run, making it 28-9.
Second and 5. Second and goal from the 5. Marcus Allen. Raiders in the end zone. Touchdown, Marcus. 70 yards, 8 plays. There's Marcus Allen. He's doing what he does best, cut back. This is what he did at SC1. He's coming out here. He sees the defense starts to spring out.
3.
And cuts right back against the grain.
Yes, Fabian pointed out on a YouTube feed, you can't forget Charlie Sumner's contribution to that play, the Squirick touchdown, no debate on that. A great moment in Raider history. So Marcus Allen with a little tease of a 5-yard run, but this was the iconic play that delivered him the MVP award.
Only 12 seconds left to play third quarter. Here's Marcus Allen. Cutting back upfield, and Marcus Allen could be gone. "74 yards for Marcus Allen. And the Raiders are starting to shove this one in the winners column. 74 yards. You just witnessed the longest run in Super Bowl history from scrimmage by Marcus Allen on a broken play. The record had been held by Tom Matty, who was 58 yards in Super Bowl III. A busted play takes a special kind of individual with that kind of an effort. Barr's extra point is good. Raiders
3.
5, Redskins 9.
Well, the blowout ensued here, and the Raiders were able to destroy the Washington Redskins on that Black Sunday. That's why I ranked this the #1 game of all time. Here is the final call as the Raiders win their 3rd Super Bowl.
Number 18 is about to be history. And the Lombardi Trophy will go to the Los Angeles Raiders. A very young team, but a super team. The largest margin of victory in a Super Bowl by 29 points, 38-9. Raiders
3.
make the Redskins.
Pretty incredible that went down. Unbelievable that was able to go down. How do you see it? I think that's number one. That's the greatest roster team, explosive win. And if you don't agree with me, I respect your opinion. Maybe you think there was another Super Bowl team that was better. Let us know, 702-365-9200. The post game from this. But before we get to Al Davis, let's hear from NFL Films on how they describe Marcus Allen's long touchdown run.
Power play off the left side, 17 pop trio. Ken Coffey came up in a reverse field, and in doing so, he almost got the ball out. After I made that turn, everything slowed down. I remember Neil Okovich just grasping. Man, I could almost see the anxiety on their faces and the tension as I was running by. And then about 20 yards from the goal line, everything came back to normal speed.
3. That's pretty special. So Marcus Allen, as he said, everything slowed down as he just split through that defense. And he ran not only to the Heisman Trophy before that, but the MVP of the Super Bowl and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What a great career for the great Marcus Allen. The trophy presentation, a lot of people wondered about this. What would it sound like in that locker room with the bad blood between Al Davis and Pete Rozelle? Here it is.
Now, congratulations. Let's start out with the trophy presentation for Tom Boyes and Al Davis. And here's the Commissioner, Pete Rozelle. Pete?
Well, the Raiders, I think everyone would say, beat a fine football team today. The Redskins had won 31 of the last 34 games. And I think that it was clearly a very dominant win. You had scoring by your offense, by your defense, by your special teams. And I think that while it's hard to mention just one, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the great job that Marcus Allen did in becoming the most valuable player of the game. And Tom, I think you certainly established yourself as one of the great coaches in the league. Your consistent record of winning over the years is tremendous. And now, you're to be congratulated for putting this camp together. You and the Raider management put together a great football team, and they sure showed it today. Congratulations.
Just win that.
3. All right, that's amazing. Al Davis just win, baby, and the importance of that Pete Rozelle presentation there at the time, incredible. Al Davis's speech to the players immediately following. Here it is.
Well, I just want to say 2 years ago when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future. And with all the great teams we've had, I think today that this organization, this team, this coaching staff dominated so decisively that two things must be said. Not only, in my opinion, are you the greatest rated team of all time, I think you're ranked with the great teams of all time that have ever played any professional sport. Tom Flores isn't just a great coach in our league, with all due respect to the commissioner. He's one of the great coaches of all time. And the coaching staff, the organization, and I want to say one thing to the fans and the great players who wore the silver and the black in the past all over the country. I want to pay tribute to my partner, Ed McGaw, who died this winter. Again, you were magnificent. You dominated. And I love all of you, and you know that. Thanks. Al, thank you very much. Excellent job. Al, let me ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the years?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing.
3.
Just win.
Brett Musburger with the interview there of Al Davis. Brett Musburger later on became the voice of the Raiders before Jason Horowitz is now. How about that? Going back, this sound is absolutely incredible. President Reagan at the time made the phone call. Here it is into the locker room.
The nation's #1 sporting fan, President Ronald Reagan, is standing by live in the White House
We're not going to have any telephone call breakup tonight. We're going to hook you up live right now with President Reagan. Mr. President.
Coach Tom Flores, Mr. President, congratulations. That was a wonderful win tonight. I just think you ought to know, though, that you've given me some problems. I have already had a call from Moscow. They think that Marcus Allen is a new secret weapon, and they insist that we dismantle it. Now, they've given me an idea about that team that I just saw there of yours. If you turn them over to us, we'd put them in silos and we wouldn't have to build the MX missile. It's been great. You proved tonight that a good defense can also be a pretty good offense.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I really appreciate it. We played a good game tonight. Our players were just tremendous in every phase. We totally dominated. I think we proved to the whole world that the Silver and Black is the best team.
Well, you certainly were from what we saw out there on the field tonight. And again, my congratulations to you. God bless all of you. And there isn't anything that I could say that would make you any happier than you all must be.
Well, thank you. I wish you were here to enjoy it with us.
3.
I appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Wow, what a detailed reaction that we have for you here on the flagship of the Raiders as we take a look at this unbelievable moment in Raider history back to Super Bowl 18. One final soundbite, Tom Flores post-game with the great Brent Musburger.
Tom Flores, this was one of the finest prepared football teams I have ever seen. You went right to work after beating Seattle. You kept your eye on Washington all the way. This whole organization was so confident when I was around. Well, this is such a great group of guys, and we just go out and do our job. We don't pay attention to what is said about us. We don't pay attention to all the hoopla and the distractions or whatever. We have a job to do, and we get
3.
It's just been tremendous.
All right, that is it. That is our coverage there, and we hope you enjoyed it. Our countdown, our summer series has come to an end. The greatest Raider games of all time at number 1, Super Bowl 18, Black Sunday. That was on January 22nd, 1984. The Los Angeles Raiders 38, the Washington Redskins 9. And it gave the city of Los Angeles their first Super Bowl victory, the final Super Bowl victory for the Raiders. And I really enjoyed this. It was fun putting this together. I don't know when I came up with it, but I want to thank the people behind the scenes over at the Raider organization, especially Mike Taylor, my longtime friend, who I leaned on with a lot of just notes and him talking to me and I'm talking to him about these games. And he had nothing to do with the order. He just kind of led me with the importance of all these games. Bobby, who dug up all the sound and some of the sound we got from the Raiders, but that was mostly Bobby going into the vaults on YouTube to find the sound that would tell this story. We really appreciate that. And then everybody else who jumped in and wanted to talk about these games. So that is it. Our summer series has come to an end on the last day of Raiders training camp. Wow, we timed that out beautifully. And man, I remember April, May sitting around with Bobby going, what the hell are we going to do this summer, man? How are we going to get through the heat and the dead zone? We came up with this idea, and we've been thanking all of our proud partners for helping us come up with this. So our partners all were behind it. We appreciate that. And I want to thank Tito's Handmade Vodka. We just brought Tito's in to our portfolio of partners here. We can't thank them enough. So you'll be hearing me talk about Tito's all the time, their social media, what they do in town. One of the premier brands in all of spirits all over the world. We thank again Tito's, Shane, and the entire team for being a part of our training camp sponsorship, but going forward, being a part of our season coming up here. And the season kicks off with the preseason coming up Saturday in Minnesota against the Vikings. 702-365-9200. Looking forward to some reaction from this game. Got an open line or two for you. We should never have an open line, especially when we're talking about Raiders history. The M Resort Spawn Casino. Let's thank Patrick Durkin and the entire team over at the M Resort who give us an opportunity not only to broadcast and talk about the official hotel of the Silver and Black, but welcome us in for their summer concert series. Head on out and see a show at the pool at the M Resort Spawn Casino. All right, Bobby. Nice job. Yep. All right. Wow. All right. That's it, everyone. I'm packing this up. We've got about another half hour to go, and I am gone. I will be back tomorrow from Vegas. We appreciate everybody hitting like and subscribing. Thank you so much for being here and, get me through camp, man. It's a long camp, a lot longer for Vinnie and some of the guys who are here every day, but I saw enough. I saw enough to be ready for the broadcast coming up on Saturday and then hit the ground running next week before the next 2 preseason games against the Cowboys and the 49ers. We'll see you back in Vegas tomorrow. Thanks a lot, my friends.